They say that history is written by the victors. But what happens when the history books are wrong? What happens when the villain of the story is actually the hero that nobody wanted? Once upon a time, there were two brothers. One was born to sit on a throne. The other was born to ride the wind. I was the second brother. And 10 years ago, my older brother, King Varric, decided that the wind was blowing a little too hard for his liking. This is the story of how I was thrown off the edge of the map and why I climbed back up, with an air force that breathes fire. It didn't happen with a sword fight or a public trial. Betrayal is rarely that loud. It happened over a game of chess. I was 20 years old. I had just returned from the Southern Isles, bringing trade deals and alliances. The people threw flowers at my horse. They chanted my name. That night, King Varric invited me to his private study. We played chess, just like we did when we were children. But Varric wasn't looking at the board. He was looking at me with cold, dead eyes. "You cast a very long shadow, brother," he said, "and nothing grows in the shadow." I thought he was joking. I laughed. I moved my knight to take his rook. And then the floor dropped out beneath me. Literally, a trapdoor, a dark chute. I slid down into the darkness, hitting stone after stone until I landed in the caverns beneath the castle. The royal dungeons? No, lower. These were the feeding grounds. See, our kingdom had a dark secret. We didn't execute criminals. We fed them to the beasts that lived in the abyss beneath the mountain. Varric didn't want to exile me publicly. He wanted me to disappear. He wanted me to be erased. He looked down from the hole in the ceiling, a tiny circle of light so far away. "Goodbye, brother," he echoed. "Try not to scream." I waited for death. I waited for the crunch of bones. I was in a massive underground grotto, illuminated by glowing blue mushrooms. And there were beasts. But they weren't monsters. They were magnificent. Ancient subterranean dragons. Blind, scaled creatures that navigated by sound and heat. They sensed my fear. They circled me. But they didn't attack. You see, our family crest is a dragon. We always claimed we had dragon blood in our veins. It was just a myth to make us sound important. Or so I thought. When the alpha female approached me, a creature twice the size of a house with scales like polished onyx, she sniffed my hand. She didn't smell meat. She smelled kin. Varric made a calculation error. He threw a Targaryen into a pit of dragons and expected him to burn. I didn't just survive down there. I learned. For 10 years, I lived in the darkness. I lost my sight for a while because of the lack of light, but my hearing became razor sharp. I learned their language, a series of clicks, hums, and roars. I learned how to ride the updrafts of the thermal vents. I watched a new generation of dragons hatch. I helped raise them. I wasn't a human anymore. I was part of the pack. And I discovered something else. A way out. The thermal vents didn't just heat the caves, they connected to the dormant volcano peak miles outside the city. It took us a decade to grow strong enough to make the climb. But dragons grow fast in the heat. Fast forward to last week. The winter solstice. King Varric was hosting a tournament. He loves tournaments. It distracts the people from the fact that the taxes are too high and the crops are failing. I've heard whispers from the surface. Varric is a terrible king. Paranoia makes him weak. Imagine the scene. The trumpets are blowing. Knights are jousting. The crowd is cheering half-heartedly. And then the ground starts to shake. People thought it was an earthquake. The dormant volcano overlooking the city, the one that hasn't erupted in 1,000 years, suddenly blew its top. But it wasn't lava that came out. It was us. 300 dragons poured out of the mountain like a swarm of angry hornets. But we didn't fly in chaos. We flew in formation. A spear tip, aiming right for the royal box. I was riding the Alpha. We call her Midnight. We didn't burn the city. We didn't hurt a single civilian. We just landed. Everywhere. On the castle walls, on the cathedral towers, on the tournament grounds. The silence was absolute. I walked across the jousting field. I was pale, my eyes sensitive to the sun, wearing armor made from the shed scales of my pack. Varric stood up. He looked old, tired, and terrified. He shouted to his guards, "Kill him! Kill the beast!" Do you know what happened? The guards dropped their spears because they recognized me. They recognized the eyes of their old prince, and more importantly, they looked at the 300 dragons drooling behind me and decided that minimum wage wasn't worth dying for. I walked up the stairs to the royal box. Varric drew his sword. His hand was shaking. "You're a ghost," he stammered. "No, brother," I said softly. "Ghosts are dead. I'm very much alive." I took the crown off his head. He didn't even fight back. He was too busy looking at Midnight, who was hovering just inches behind him, smoke curling from her nostrils. I didn't kill Varric. Killing him would be too easy. I exiled him. I sent him to a nice, quiet island in the middle of the ocean. No dragons, no guards, just him and his chessboard. He has plenty of time to think about his next move now. As for me, I'm reshaping the kingdom. We don't hide the dragons underground anymore. We live with them. We fly with them. The kingdom is safe, the people are fed, and nobody dares to attack us. So, if you ever feel like the world has thrown you into a pit, remember this story. Don't just try to climb out. Make friends with the monsters in the dark, because when you finally do return to the light, you won't be walking alone. Subscribe for more tales.